what's going on with the internet right now it's an engineering problem. I mean, we have a flawed design, an internet that's ubiquitous, that was never designed to do the things it's doing, and so we see the harms, and those harms are, as you mentioned, to children. We now, the research is in, and we're seeing that social media in particular is highly addictive and really harming
Right.
kids. It's also undermining democracy and our ability to govern. So it's not just limited to children. So what we thought we might do is set out and put forward a solution rather than just recycling around the problem.
And Frank, what's so important here, and I think a large body of our audience, whatever their political persuasion, would say, whatever we do, we don't need a government policy because it's probably not going to work. And it's going to take, longer. It's going to take longer, Paul, for the government policy to click in to when the Red Sox get above 500. But Frank McCourt, what's so important to me is you have to speak to our tech leaders and basically say, do something. When you do that, how do they respond?
Well, it's interesting. First of all, I think you're right that we need to innovate our way forward here, not regulate our way forward.
Thank you.
And, this country is full of creative people, of innovators, and we can solve this problem. Fixing the engineering problem, as I say, fixing how the internet works so that individuals have ownership and control of their data, and we return agency to individuals, and they have a voice in how these platforms work rather than these black boxes that we all sit and wonder, like, what's going on. And also, by the way, individuals who are creating the data share in the economic benefits. So let's focus on that, and we can innovate our way forward. The challenge, of course, is going to be getting people to migrate to this new world because, as we said earlier, these existing platforms are highly addictive by design. And doing a great deal of damage. So we need to really take a step back, and before we make this technology more powerful, with generative AI and so forth, and make no mistake, generative AI is just a more powerful version of the same thing we have now, which is obviously causing massive harms and problems. Let's fix the tech, and then enjoy the innovation and the creativity and the power of AI. As far as tech leaders and so forth, I think big tech is just watching right now. I don't imagine they're going to give up, their model easily, which is essentially surveilling us and scraping our data, aggregating it, and then applying, algorithms that work for them and not work for us. And so we need to reprioritize now and put people at the forefront, not platforms.
So, Frank, when I was kind of reading through your notes here and reading about Project Liberty, boy, I'm sure you have a tremendous amount of support out there if you poll just the average person out there about the aims of Project Liberty. However, I kind of feel like it's too little too late, that the industry's already evolved and the business models have been developed and the ecosystem is so entrenched. Is there a concern that the industry, it just might be too late, maybe?
I don't believe so at all. I do believe if we sit back and do nothing, then we can pretty much predict the outcome here, right? I mean, people know, and you're right. I just came back from Davos, and the number one issue there in people's minds was mis and disinformation, and how that is destroying not only democracy, but someday will destroy capitalism. Because remember, both our capitalist system and our democratic system are both built on one simple but important concept, and that is trust.
Right.
And when you destroy trust, you both of those systems, both democracy and capitalism, will fail over time. So we need to restore trust. So we need to fix this. It may be a challenge, and there's no question about it. This is not going to be simple or easy. Although the tech part of it is actually quite straightforward, because we now have over 550,000 people who have joined this new internet. By using a Web 2 app by the name of MeWe, and their 20 million users are migrating over to DSMP, which is this new protocol. So it's happening, and I just think we need to socialize this. And our choice is do nothing and see further harms, or do something and fix it.
Frank, I want to talk about do nothing. When I was a tiny lad, my grandfather took me up a dirt hill in L.A. and said, this is where the Dodgers are going to play. And, of course, this was all the emotion of the move from New York City, from Brooklyn. out to L.A. Along the way, News Corp happened along, and it wasn't pretty. You were a piñata out in L.A. with your ownership of the Dodgers, but the fact is you were the first one to make the Dodgers start winning. That was, let's call it 10, 15 years ago. How do you perceive what you wrought and what they took forward when we look now at the Pacific Rim Dodgers is arguably the team of Asia? What are the new Los Angeles Dodgers to Frank McCourt?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're look, they've always been an epic franchise, one of the great brands in all of sports. You know, when I bought them from Rupert Murdoch, they were they kind of got off the track. The team hadn't won a postseason game in 16 years, if you can imagine that, and you know, things were kind of run down, and the brand had lost a bit of its luster. And we were able over time to restore that and restore the prominence of the team and get into back-to-back, you know, National League Championship Series in 08 and 09 for the first time in, you know, 35 years. And we got them back and brought in some great young talent. You know, Clayton Kershaw was one of the folks that really led the way with our, you know, in terms of our scouting and player development. And built a new training facility in Phoenix at Camelback Ranch, and you know, closer to our fans. And by the way, took the team to China to play the first and only Major League Baseball games that have ever been played there in 2008, and reconnected with the past. Because remember, the Dodgers had a relationship in Asia; it just needed to again be refreshed. And now you've seen the recent players that the current ownership has signed. It's pretty awesome.